All right, let's cut to the chase here, guys. The real story about plateaus, this is one of the most common problems I see in all of health and wellness. I actually just the other day we had a guest over, and in reality, she's doing great, but she feels like she's failing, and she's just in a plateau and doesn't understand the significance and the importance of that plateau. So do me a favor as you're coming on. I'd love to know where you're from, where in the world. This is really cool because we have people all over the world. What's up, Jason, out of Vegas? But where are you from? And then also, have you ever been in a plateau before? Now remember, plateaus, I'm talking about health and wellness and fitness plateaus, right? Most people will give a plateau in weight loss. And I want to clear the air on it, really the significance of it and what most people do and why it's wrong, why what most people do is completely wrong. And so if you take a moment and you listen to this, it'll change your life forever. I'm just going to tell you, you'll change your life forever. Where am I from? I'm from from my mother. Well, I guess that's true. But the thing is this applies to everything in your life. It applies to relationships. It replies to, I got to turn that bot off. That's funny. This is going to be fun on Facebook. And Minnesota in the house. I hope you're cold. I'm plateaued right now. Okay, listen to this. I'm gonna give you the whole thing. But this applies to everything in your life. UK in the house. Super excited. As you come on, just say where you're from, if you don't mind, and if you've ever been in a plateau, because we're gonna dig into it here in about 10 seconds. But I'm going to tell you a story. So I'm sitting there with a lady. I'm going to call her, we'll call her Karen. That's not her name, but we're going to call her Karen. And she looks amazing. She looks great. From when she started, she looked amazing. And if I would have told her 1 year ago, if I would have said, hey, listen, in 1 year, you're going to be at 180 pounds. You're going to be able to not have to work out every day because she likes to work out, but yet life happened. And she's only able to work out maybe once or twice a week. But you're not going to have to follow a crazy strict diet. You're going to be able to have a drink every once in a while, once or twice a week. You're going to have some drinks, and you're going to be able to maintain 185. I go, what would you have said a year ago if I would have told you that? And she goes, I would have been stoked. She's like, that'd be the greatest thing. But here she's at 185. She's looked great. She looked completely different. She's super active, vibrant, full of life, yet disappointed she's not 165. Right. And not appreciating anything that she's accomplished. She's in a plateau. And the biggest plateau she's in is her expectations that she needs to be further ahead faster. I go, but here's the thing, and this is what I want you to think about. That's why when you read my statement, I said it's 60% mindset. This is the secret that people don't talk about. They think it's about nutrition and exercise. I work with a lot of coaches and doctors worldwide, and I just listened to a podcast with Ed Milet and a young lady, and I know Ed doesn't think this way, but she thinks, because she's a scientist, it's about the gut bacteria and that. And it's not. It's a huge factor, but it's not the key. It's not the thing that matters the most, right? People's thoughts and behaviors make the biggest impact. Because I said to her, I go, hey, Karen, I go, if you, in 1 year, you weigh 165, I go, why is it going to change? Why are you going to be in the same mindset, disappointed that you're not 155 or you're not being able to run faster or whatever that is? I go, you have no joy of what you've created already, which you've already done amazing things. So we're so hard on ourselves, right? Okay, so let's get to the plateau. Plateau is the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that a plateau, and I'm going to give you all the reasons on how to break through a plateau. But what I found is the people that break through a plateau and maintain success do something different than everybody else. They do something completely different than everybody else. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what that difference is, but I'm going to give you the tips of what you can do to make it different this time. Okay. So what happens is when you're in a plateau, basically your body's creating a new normal. If you read a book, there's a book called Mastery, and it talks about plateaus. Plateaus, ironically, are the new normal. They become the new you. So it's the time to celebrate. It's the new, think about it this way, is if you're climbing a mountain, and as you're going through and you're making life changes, right? You're eating better, you're drinking ketones, you're dieting, you're exercising, you're trying to sleep better. You're doing all these things, right? A lot of uncertainty. You don't know what's going to work or how well it's going to work. You're on soft surface. You're on a soft. It's like you're climbing a mountain, and every step you take, you slide down a half an inch, or every step you take, you slide down 6 inches, right? That's the health journey. When you get to a plateau, basically what you've done is establish a strong platform or a stable place that you're now able to stand on. The problem is most people feel deprived or disappointment or disgusted by where they're at. So what happens is they end up going back down the mountain. They're like, fuck it. I'm gonna start eating like this. I'm gonna start doing this. I don't, it doesn't matter anymore. They start going back down the mountain. All they've done is had reestablished a new normal. And remember this, what you don't know is the human body, all it cares about is staying alive and reproduction. It doesn't care about your weight. Your weight is a variable, is a factor of survival. I hope this makes sense. Your body gains body fat for 100% survival reasons, primitive survival reasons. That's why it did what it did, right? And people go, well, why did I get sick? It did it because it's trying to survive, right? I have an autoimmune condition, right? And I could be like the victim of like, why did I get sick? What's wrong? Blah, 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 blah. My body responded to keep me alive. Now, I don't necessarily like the experience of that, but its goal was for me to stay alive, right? When you get sick, people don't realize this. Most of the time when you get sick, it's not the thing that got you feeling bad. It's your own body reacting to the thing, right? If you get a virus, your body's reaction to the virus is what makes you feel fatigued and tired because it's trying to protect you. It's not a bad thing. It's actually what it's supposed to be doing to help you feel better. When you sprain your ankle, it swells and makes it hard to walk. That's because it's trying to help you. So when you're in a plateau, you're creating a new normal. This is the time to celebrate. This is the time to appreciate that you've done this far. That's the 60% mindset shift. Because when you do that, you don't go back down. What you do is you reestablish a mission forward. I have people come on, I need to lose 100 pounds. Okay, awesome. Well, it's not going to be a straight line to 100 pounds. They're going to lose 30 plateau. I told Karen, I wish I could just say a real name, but I told Karen, I keep having to remember Karen. I go, the really master way of getting healthy is basically go on a journey for 1 to 2 months and then maintain it for a month. Go on a journey for 1 to 2 months and maintain it. That's the psychology side of it. That's the best part to do psychologically, because then when your goal is, you're almost like trying not to get better, but you're trying to enjoy your life while you're there. It's the same thing. You walk up a mountain, stop and look at the view, right? Appreciate the process, okay? But it's hard for us to do that because we can focus on the end, and the end gets further away the more that you don't appreciate the plateaus or where you're kind of hovering at. Last thing I want to say is that what people don't realize is when they're not well or not healthy, your body has to go through a lot of shifts and changes hormonally, detoxing, like the lady she was talking about, gut bacteria, which is important. And if that changes, your body is going to go through shifts and changes too. And that's part of the plateau. It's part of the understanding. So what do you do about it? I'm going to give you the one tip. The people that have the most success in plateaus, I'm going to give you that one tip. What it is. Is anybody smelling what I'm stepping in here? Is this making sense for you all? It's so important for us to understand this because nothing hurts me more than I watch people start their health journey and they quit so fast. And what they don't realize, when you look at the foundation of health and wellness, the foundation of life and survival and flourishment and excitement and joy of life, right? It's very simple. It's very fundamentally basic. And what people don't realize is that there isn't a better option. What we're doing is something that's groundbreaking, never been done in history before. It's the first time ever in history where we've combined the primitive nature of human existence and human survival and human thriving with modern day reality and technology and life. The first time ever. There's so many products out there that I have to people call me up, Dustin, should I take this? Dustin, can I do this? Hey, Dustin, what about this? And I'm like, this shit is bad. Like, it scares me that they even are allowed to sell some of these things, a lot of these things. And yet we have something that is extremely extraordinary, healthy, and beneficial for people. And I watch them start and then jump onto something else and jump onto something else. I'm like, I'm going to see you in 3 years in a way worse place. This scares the heck out of me. And so I really want people to understand that. Like, when you're starting this journey, it will be the last thing you ever have to do as long as you're willing to go through the whole journey. It's not just about nutrition. It's not just about supplementation. It's not just about exercise. It's not just about toxins and vaccinations and all this other stuff. Like people make way too much of that stuff. It's a factor, but it's not the factors. The determination that you're going to go in your journey and learn how your journey works, and this is in everything in your life, you'll change forever. So here's the tips of breaking a plateau. One of the number one things I'm finding is I find that people, number one, is they start their journey. Oh, I gotta say this first. If you're on a weight loss transformation and you lose 30, 40, 50 pounds and you plateau, well, guess what? You're not the same person as you were when you started. So what you did at the beginning can't be the same thing you do now. Got it? What you did at the beginning cannot be the same thing you do. You're not the same person. If you've lost 50 pounds, every step you take, you're working less hard. So let's say that you're 50 pounds overweight and or 100 pounds overweight, you lose 50 pounds. At 100 pounds overweight, you're walking, let's say you decide, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps a day. You burn more calories walking 10,000 steps when you're 100 pounds overweight than when you were only 50 pounds overweight. It's different. It changed. You have to change something to get the same experience and result. So that's one factor. The other factor is that people will start and they'll go low carb, let's say, and they're drinking ketones, of course. And then what happens is they plateau, but they start to see them, somebody eating carbohydrates, or I got a bodybuilder eating 300 carbohydrates, and they're eating higher fat, healthier foods, and they didn't realize that they started adding things back in, and then they didn't realize what they did. They changed. So the first thing I want you to do in your plateau is really assess: are you doing the things that are going to lead you towards your goal? Number one. Okay. Because sometimes people just have to re-recognize it. That's the only time I like for people to measure stuff. I'm not a big measuring weight scale will freaking screw you all up. So I hate that. But, and we'll do a scale video later. I'll rant for hours on that one. But here's the reality is that you got to make some changes. The biggest one that I find isn't actually food. I'm going to give you some tips on that in a second. The biggest one I find of changes is people don't exercise enough. And I've been really hard on this because as somebody that's had multiple surgeries and a lot of injuries, I love exercise. It makes me feel good. But exercise is a supplement to these days. The only way, because our ancestors naturally moved more. My car doors shut themselves. I don't even have to do that. Everything is easier in our life today, which is great. I'm not bagging that. I don't necessarily want to walk to work uphill both ways in the middle of a snowstorm. I don't want that. I don't know if you do. Miguel does. But we got to start moving our body more. We got to set a standard for ourselves. What is your standard? What's your minimum? My minimum is 10,000 steps a day. I'm not going to go below it. Has there been days where I have? Yes, there has been. I've had surgeries and I've had some things go on. I didn't make it. I just made it up on another day. Miguel, we're in a little challenge group, and I'm like, let's just make up what we couldn't do. We didn't hit all of our goals for the week. I go, let's just make it up over the weekend, because the weekends are kind of free days. Just enjoy your weekends. Set a standard that you can live by, and know that your standard is going to change and has to change for you to keep moving forward. I use this as an example. I watch people go to the gym. The first 3 months at the gym, they're sore, they're sweating, they're tired, they're fatigued, they're blah. And then the next 9 months, they're not sore, tired, fatigued, or anything. So that went from an exercise where it fatigued your body, where your body broke down and repaired, to an activity. An activity is something that you can do every single day and continuously doing. I encourage activities, but if you're looking to change your body, an activity is going to help you stay the same. It's not going to help you change. Let me say it again. An activity is going to help you stay the same, but it's not going to actually help you change. An exercise, based on definition, applied force that's going to require your body to adapt to, is going to allow you to change. So if you're doing the same physical activities you were when you started your journey, and you're not doing, and you've lost weight or got healthier and you plateaued, it's because you're still doing the same thing. It's become an activity. I couldn't ask a world-class athlete to start training to get to a certain level and they plateau in their performance. We have to do more to get more out of them. Same thing for us. It's just a different level or a different standard. Okay, that's. I hope that's good. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it. Okay, so first thing is we got to get activity in. We got to get exercise in. It's too vital for metabolism, for health, for gut health, for brain health, and ideally, if you can get exercise outside, it'd be great. I know you guys, all you Midwestern Minnesotans, move, just leave. That's what I gotta say. Leave. Come to California. It's way better. But get outside. It's super important to do that. Okay. Food, we already addressed. For the most part, for food, this is the simple one for food. Be cautious of nuts, salamis, cheeses, and eating too late. Those are the biggest things. I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. But I eat at 9 o'clock sometimes, 9 o'clock in the morning. I might eat at 1 o'clock. It's gonna vary for me. And guess what? It changes week to week, month to month. I've learned how to allow it to adapt. If I wake up and I'm just really hungry, I'm not gonna I'll drink my ketones and I'll delay a little bit, but I'm not gonna try to fight to the end of the day. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna fuel my body with good, high quality foods. Okay. I am a huge fan of things like kimchi. I'm a huge fan of things like sauerkraut or fermented type foods that are relatively low carb. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of just fresh fruits and vegetables. I do eat fruit now. I don't. I used to not, but now that we have ketones, I eat fruit regularly. I eat fruit probably, no, I wouldn't say once a day, but probably 5 to 7 times a week. And some days I eat more than others. That's what I do. This is what works for me. Okay. And then I eat a lot of high quality protein, but try to stop eating. The sooner you can stop eating before bed, the better. At least 3 hours, but 3 to 5 hours is even better. Anytime you put food in your system, it's messing up some rhythms in your GI tract and some health in your GI tract. So those are just some tips around that. Okay. The other thing about food that, and I always say cautious, like the salamis, the processed stuff, and the nuts and seeds. The reason why that matters is that the more of that you're eating, the more that you're not eating the other stuff, which is what your body really wants. High quality proteins, high quality vegetables. If you're eating fruit, then high quality fruit. And if you're on a fat loss journey, just choose the lower carb fruits. Choose the berries, avocados, things like that are lower carb, and then enjoy them. Don't feel guilty that you had a freaking strawberry, if that makes any sense. I'll be ready in a second. My wife's saying, I gotta go. We got some work to do. Yeah, right, Matt. I mean, yeah, the process in itself isn't ideal. Now, I do eat some salamis from time to time, but it's a small portion of what I'm actually currently doing. So that's when it comes to food. Okay. Here's the other biggest ones that I'm going to give you as a tip that mess people up. Okay. Alcohol isn't your friend. And I like it. I like it. I tell you, I like it. Alcohol is a tricky one. Alcohol is designed to slow your system down. So you have to be aware of that. Some of you that aren't going to get results, you're going to have to cut it down or minimize it very little. And it's not about the carbohydrates of alcohol. It's about the empty calories and about what it does to your system. So a plateau can often be an alcohol related plateau. And it's easy to do. I live in wine country. Like alcohol is just like a normal thing here. Minnesotans, alcohol is a regular thing there. And people want to get caught up into the carbohydrate side of it all. No, it's actually the alcohol itself that's a bigger factor, right? One serving of alcohol is 90 calories ish. 90 calories. If you have 2 to 3, this is stick to bourbon. But the reality is you have 3 bourbons, right? And I don't do a little, I mean, I do a bourbon, right? We're doing Manhattans and we're doing old fashions. I don't know all the sugar in it, but you're drinking 300 or 400 calories, and your body's going to use those calories first. But also, alcohol itself is a depressant. It slows down the body's natural system. It's technically kind of a toxin, right? But I enjoy it. I'm not against it. I want to be aware that if you're doing these things and your body's plateauing, well, then there's reasons why, right? So don't stop your plan. Adjust your plan. Adjust your approach to the plan. So I hope this helps. Last thing is you got to get rid of the scale. I told Karen, I'm like, listen, I guarantee you in 1 year, if you throw away the scale, you commit to your journey and you're proud of your progress, you will be truly, truly happy next year, which is what you really want. You think you want to weigh 165, but you really want to look in the mirror and say, damn, I look good and I look sexy and I'm confident and I'm happy and I'm in a relationship and I love my life. That's what you really want, right? At the end of the day. But I go, that has nothing to do with the number on a scale. That has to do with the program in your brain that you need to shift and change. You got to start being proud of who you are and where you're at and where you're going. And that is the most important thing. And that's the secret to plateaus. And so too many people are out there like, I want a meal plan. I want this perfect cookie cutter approach, and they don't exist. You're creating a lifestyle for yourself. You have to set a standard for yourself. And guess what? You know what? You're going to mess up. You're going to fail. My wife told me this. I did a training the other day about leadership or mindset. And she goes, I'm like, what should we talk about? I could talk about all these things. And she goes, the most important thing about mindset is that you can always start again now. You can always start again now. Listen, New Year's resolutions, almost everybody quits by now. Within the next 2 months, 90% of people quit their New Year's resolutions. They give up on them. They don't even tell you they gave up. They don't even know that they gave up, but they already gave up. Don't stop. Just go again. Persistence is one of the most powerful things in the world. And if you know that you're on a journey, stay on that journey. A couple factors of staying on that journey is surround yourself with people on a similar journey. right? Get away from people that are, if you hang out with people that drink more, you're going to drink more, right? I moved to wine country and I drink more here than I ever have. Why? Because everybody around here drinks wine. It's very social, it's very normal, but it's like I'm exposed to it more. And guess what? I naturally have gravitated towards that. I have to choose if that's something that's not serving my life. I have to choose to move away from it or be conscious that I'm doing it and make another alternative choices. Okay. But get rid of that scale. It's not serving you to your long-term results. And know that you're on a journey. And so here's a few last little tips. And this is the most important thing is that the people that bust through plateaus the best are the first ones, the people that recognize they're in it and are not disappointed. They're proud of how they've gotten there. They're proud of their accomplishment. At the same time, instead of measuring their food and measuring, all their clothes and their weight, what they're doing is saying, listen, I need to go out and perform better. I need to raise my standard. So I use walking as an example. If you can walk a mile in 20 minutes and you go on a journey and you get down to 19 minutes and you're plateaued, set a new journey. I'm going to go walk a mile in 18 minutes and work towards that goal because that's the life you're going to want to create. When you're up to 50 pounds, you're going to want to see that walk time. It's a performance goal. You have another metric, and this could be in many ways, right? You could use clothing as one option. You could use walking, fitness, exercise, biking, burpees, push-ups. All you really want to see is, can you raise your standards of who you are? When you do that, you'll maintain it forever. Jeff's on here right now, and this is one of the things that we've been working with him on. And he's doing this. He's losing. I mean, he wants to lose 200 pounds. Like he's on this huge transformation. And every time we nudge him, I'm always like, "Where's your standard? Like, where are you at? Like, what are your standard?" Now he's gone through a knee replacement. I went and did my hip replacement, right? So we both got some stuff working on. But think about this: if you go through a knee replacement or hip replacement, you're automatically back. My leg got so tired snowboarding, I could barely do it. Like 2 runs in the morning, 2 runs in the afternoon. That was it, right? My standard is low right now. But if I want to do this for the rest of my life with my kids and my family, I got to raise my standard. I got to get in shape. I got to push my leg a little bit more so that it can get to 5 runs in the morning, 5 runs in the afternoon. And I want to set the highest standard that I can that seems appropriate for me. I don't want to just be satisfied with 1 or 2 runs. Guess what? When I'm not as in good shape, which I'm not in great shape now, but if my shape's going to go worse, guess what? It's going to be 1 run and then I'm never going to do it again. That's not acceptable for me. Not at all. So set the standard. Set your standard. Set your standard and raise it to something that you're appreciative and proud of. And I don't care where you're starting. I don't care if you can't walk around the block. Start. And you got to start somewhere. Okay. So we obviously know that this is a secret weapon. So most people that are following me already drink ketones. So you got to have your ketones every day because it's going to be your insurance policy to sustain fulfilled energy and help fuel your brain, help fuel your muscles, help fuel your heart. After that, it's once or twice a day. After that, it's really about, finding a diet that you can sustain and work towards. Don't eat so late at night, especially if you're plateaued. Watch the processed foods. Okay, eat more real food, right? And then from there, you got to start moving your body and you got to start appreciating your progress. So with that said and done, I gotta go. I had to weigh myself every day with my personal trainer. Not anymore. Yeah, I would fire that trainer. Oh my goodness. Actually, when I did it once a week, and I'd never allowed my clients to see the scale. They weren't allowed to see it. She accidentally saw it. She wasn't supposed to. She peeked, and it's like it changed her mindset. It was horrific, and I don't do it anymore. Now, there's a small number of people that can see the number, and it motivates them, and that's a psychological thing. So that person you might motivate, right? I might motivate them. My wife's kind of that way. It's like, hey, look what happened. Oh, okay. She doesn't feel bad about it as much as she feels determined by it. And it's a small number of people, like 5 to 10% of people that you can use that to your advantage. Most people, it's a negative. So you're no way, Jeff. Jeff's at 14-minute miles. Jeff, I was at 20 minutes before 4 months from now. It's been 4 months now, just walking further now. So Jeff was at 20-minute miles. Now he's at 14-minute miles. So he's setting a standard for himself. And that to me is what's exciting about it. So I have to go. I appreciate you all for listening in, giving your feedback. Share this out. Let's try to help people live better. It's just so hard for me because it's kind of like when you know, right? And when there's always going to be things that are missing. I'm working on a new little project that we're going to be doing, and it's going to be a way to help get clarity to help people even go further faster. And I'm excited about that, but I want to keep in mind that it's a 1%er. It's a 2%er. The foundation of all of this is drink your ketones, eat high quality foods, eat in smaller windows, right? Move your body and appreciate where you're at in the journey that you're on and be patient on the process. That is as simple as that. Yes, I can add in earthing, I can add in sunlight, which I think are extremely important, but they won't make the deal breaker. Combine them together, it's amazing. Because yes, the sun makes you happier. When you're happier, your mindset shifts and you appreciate things more. So yes, all those things are important, and they're not the thing that's going to change everything, if that makes sense, right? You still have to make the choices with the mindset being changed, so, or the mood being changed. Peace out. Do I end my day with ketones? I do most days. I have one in the afternoon. I probably 3 to 5 times a week. I have one in the evening, non-caffeine, of course. So I do that for sleep, and I do that for my brain. So I'm a huge fan. I don't follow ketogenic diet anymore. I follow a real hybrid. I wake up in ketosis every day, but I don't follow like extremely low carb. I have a very much a hybrid diet. Mine's more of an anti-inflammatory paleo diet that I follow. So with that, I because I don't restrict carbs as much, I drink a little bit more ketones because the therapeutic effect are so important. Keto Chill is great. I use the ampules also, and Keto Pro. So I variety all those. Kind of depends. If I'm maybe a little hungrier, I might have a Keto Pro because it helps tampen down the appetite a little bit, but doesn't impact the sleep component. It actually enhances it and improves it. So yeah, do that. Do you end your day with protein? I eat protein for dinner. I don't necessarily eat protein before bed. Same thing. I want my body resting, GI tract resting. Often when we go out for date nights, it's not every day. I will have something later at night than usual. It's like I'm not a robot, but there's a consistency of the norm. And remember, health is kind of boring. It's basic. It's not complicated. And right now in the world, everybody's complicating it. I work with tons of naturopathic, holistic, functional doctors around the world, and the reality is they don't realize that. All my chiropractors, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're doing the same thing. They're almost freaking people out and overwhelming them with the fundamental basics of what this really is. And most of the time is because they're learning something new, and they get excited about it, and then they make that the new big deal, right? And so, like, I learned about vitamin D in 1999 in college, right? We already knew that it was a huge issue. Now it's becoming this big thing, right? Well, you can correct it really easy. It's not a it's a problem, but it's not a really big deal to correct, right? So it's like we're making, and now the gut is like this big thing, and people are making like my gut's wrecked. You can fix it. Like, don't worry about it. We can take care of it. Just understand it. It's something we can get better. Just like your muscle mass being lost, like that's a freaking real big problem. But guess what? We can fix it. It's not. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. You know, you go to the chiropractor and your hips are off, and you're like, oh, my hips are all jacked up. I'm like, yeah, you functioned really well with your hip jacked up. You're okay. We just got to enhance it a little bit. We got to improve it a little bit. So that psychology of these things really, I'm cautiousing people to be careful with the information you're looking for. At the same time, the information is probably valid. It's just your reaction to it probably shouldn't be over too extreme, outside of the extreme situation. So, gotta go. Really, I do. Cheers, y'all.